Hey Carl, I hope your birthday game goes well. I'm glad you chose a reasonable option and you're going to finally get the Grape Duck campaign rolling. So I look forward to hearing how it went. Take care of yourself. Happy birthday, and I'll talk to you soon.
Carl Rodriguez is the GMologist, GM extraordinaire, the GMologist.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geomologist Presents. That was Jason Connerrly at the top of the show wishing me a happy birthday. We got another birthday wish as well from Joe Richter of Hindsightless that I will play here shortly. And then I will answer the question, or sort of answer the question, or give some feedback about what happened and how I ran, what I ran for my birthday. And then I have a special unboxing, although I'm going to actually use one of the books and do a bit of, if not solo play, solo prep afterwards for one of the products that I got. So please stay tuned for that. Thank you again for listening. And here comes Joe Richter.
Hey, Carl, happy birthday, dude. It might be early, it might be late, but either way, I hope you had an awesome birthday in a really, really cool birthday game. It sounds like it's going to be a hoot. All the animal characters, man. Maybe when you and BJ, you guys mentioned Scooby Doo real quick, and I was thinking, well, maybe they go into the Scooby Doo universe and, recruit Scooby Doo. Anyway, anyway, man, I really hope you have an awesome birthday. You and BJ had a great discussion about running games for big groups. I've I've never done it. Yeah, but you guys had good stuff to say. It sounds pretty hectic for sure. Anyway, dude, happy early or belated or right on time birthday. Take it easy. Peace out.
So much for the call, Joe. And yeah, Joe and Jason, it was a really fun game. So I had three players. My wife Amy played Howard the Duck. BJ Boyd of the Arcane Alienist played Throg, and Arlen Walker got on for a while and played Rocket. And I started them off, I think I had mentioned before, in sort of the collector's menagerie. So think of the MCU verse Guardians of the Galaxy. I think it was Guardians of the Galaxy, or maybe it's one of the other in the Avengers series, but it's where you see Howard the Duck or a person from Duck World and made it Howard the Duck, and you see Cosmo sort of entrapped there. And so then Rocket, it comes flying in after an explosion. This explosion is because of something that else is happening, maybe in the collector's menagerie, but at the same time, something is happening in this section of the museum, and these people appear, or people armed uh, with sort of the futuristic type weapons, blasters, and a quick look at them, or a closer look at them. They appear, they're humanoid. A couple of them have very Ophidian-like features, um, reptilian features, and then but kind of more like snake face as opposed to lizard face. And then the other ones have scales but are more human face. But a fight ensues. They start shooting at Rocket and others, and Throg and Howard uh, join the fight as people who have escaped and their cages or whatever have been blown open. Their holding cells have been destroyed or blown open. So yeah, it was a really good little fight. And then as they defeat these people, one of the snake-faced leader types pushes, kind of tries to deploy something, and this maelstrom erupts from sort of the center of this room and sucks these guys in. They're transported to another Earth, a parallel Earth, but actually New York. And they quickly go to hide. They see that things are kind of different on this place. they talk to some locals and learn that they're in a different Earth where the serpent, this group called Serpent Supreme or something like that, has rules a lot of the world, or is in charge, and they got to figure out a way to get back. So eventually, they kidnap a guard, get into a facility, uh, actually, and it's a very hilarious way that they do it. So Howard gets in the bottom half, Throg gets in the top. But at this point, unfortunately, one of the players had to leave, and but this is kind of so the two players stayed on. So Throg's sort of flying in the head part, and of course it's silly, but it is, imagine a Howard the Duck or Throg type of comic. I don't know if they're that serious. Maybe Throg is more serious. Anyway, they get in, they make the rolls that they need to make the rolls. I gave troubles. It was mitigated by edges. The person, Amy, rolled well. She has that tendency, and then they also convinced a scientist to finally, resist. They've been on the fence about resisting, and finally resist, and it helps them out. They free America Chavez, and then they get into a fight with villains, the Egghead, Viper, and Sabretooth. Sabretooth is a tough fight, but with a combination of fastball special and Ricochet from Throg, fastball special, Howard throwing Throg, and then America Chavez stomping and smashing things. They defeat Sabretooth and smash him into the basement level of the facility. They find a portal. Something tries to come through the portal. Something large, some large red entity. Maybe it's snake-like in aspect. It's hard to tell. They destroy the portal, and then America tries to send them back to their own Earth, or get back to their own Earth. But alas, they're transported somewhere strange. They kind of, when they get there, the world is a little cooler, and in the distance, or near to them, and surprised by their arrival, are these bird-like creatures. They look familiar similar to Dromor Mirungs or Mihirungs or Dromornithides, Thunderbirds, Demon Ducks, except the difference between the Demon Ducks from our Earth, or the Earth in the Marvel Universe 616, and this one is that these Dromornithides, Demon Ducks, have like arms and are wielding, well, primitive weapons. So that's probably the next thing that's going to happen, is an adventure in this world. I'm not sure. I don't think it'll star Howard the Duck, but there will be references to a duck appearing from the sky or out of nowhere with its frog and raccoon companion. America Chavez is nowhere to be found, so Howard and Throg and Rocket, or not Rocket. Rocket left, or was able to escape the Maelstrom, actually, with a helping hand from Groot, helping limb vine from Groot. But those two are trapped there. So that's pretty fun. It definitely is a challenge running rank 4 heroes. I think the game would be better served. And so we took some time to go through like interrupts and the different powers, and but I think if these characters were brought up from rank 1, it'd be a lot easier. And BJ and I had a way, or we had thought of a way to do progression. Simply put, from rank 1 to rank 2, there are basically 10 steps, 5 points increases in attributes, 4 new powers, and 1 new trait. So that's 10 steps, and then you can naturally, through these 10 steps, go to rank 2 if you're running a campaign, etc., etc. So that's what we thought of, and it'd be pretty cool to do. But that was my birthday game. Thanks again, Jason and Joe, for calling. And now the unboxing. Hello, everyone. I got a box, and I'm excited to open it. And I'm going to flip through the stuff that's in here. And then after that, I will probably have another segment where I'm going to use one of the books. Okay, so I think I can open this without any knife aid. If not, I have this strange tool. I don't know who makes it because I can't find a logo, but I got it for camping. It has a fork, a spoon, a knife, and a bottle opener. I guess that's all you need. Anyway, let's see if I need it. Maybe not. Maybe I won't. Nope. So far, so good. I'm just staring it. Oh, wow. Very cool. Two things that are in here from Drive-Thru RPG that I ordered for print. The first is Viral Unredacted, a modern Call of Cthulhu scenario. It does say 22/13/35 from Miskatonic Repository. It has it's a pretty interesting, looks like a video on the front. It does say R restricted, extreme gore, disturbing images, violence, graphic, body horror. Products of a popular ghost hunting YouTube channel called Spectral Crew are planning to illegally visit Isola di Malamente, an island off the Italian coast, to broadcast live as they attempt to uncover evidence of a genuine haunting and thus become internet sensations. All goes well until they find their ride off the island has disappeared, and they soon begin to see more than dust orbs and incoherently blurred photos. They soon learn that there may be someone or something else on the island, that the history of the place may be darker than they could have ever imagined. Viral is a Call of Cthulhu scenario set in the modern era. It can be played in one session or several, depending on how the keeper wants to run it. There are 5 pre-generated characters provided, but there are suggestions for using alternative investigators. It's pretty cool. I'm looking at the Spectral Crew Paranormal Investigator pre-generated characters. There are the first one here, Marco Proudfoot, occupation, YouTube ghost hunter. Corina Trench, psychic. Interesting. Enoch Jeremiah Eakins, paranormal investigator. Cameraman, Peter Wharton. Technician and director, Koo Hyun. Cool. And I think what's kind of funny, there is a blank character sheet, but they do have Spectral Clue. We go to places and do things that you never do, and there's merch. So I haven't checked to see if I can open that, but I will hold on, and see. It has one of those little QR readers. That is funny. It does go to the Zazzle.com site, and you can get the t-shirt. Okay, so I'm going from the back to the front, I guess. But this thing has 39 handouts and 7 pages of maps. Like an area map, an island map, and then other maps for other locations. And then it has, what you would expect, an intro, which I kind of cool. It does have the introduction of the Spectral Crew, the pre-generated NPCs, and then advice on creating new investigators if you wish, their gear, a timeline, a history, one scene called One Night in Perla, and then Isola di Malamente, and then the locations, and then cinematic ending and expanded ending. Yeah, it does have a running the game section that looks like about 6 pages, and then the rest is locale. So I guess it's kind of like a dungeon crawl-ish. And it has 2 kind of endings and an epilogue, and then appendix, new rules, new horrors, new tome, new spells, and then all the player handouts that I told you about. So that's pretty cool. That is Viral Unredacted. Can't wait to run it. But that might be sometime in the future. I actually just thought it was a pretty cool looking scenario, and I don't know if it was on sale or not, but I wanted to get it. The second thing is the Book of Sires. Honor Thy Forefathers. The Book of Sires radically expands the family system first presented in the King Arthur Pendragon Core Rulebook. This is from Nocturnal Press, so Pendragon 5.2, and encompasses knights from any of the 9 realms from Aquitaine to Cornwall to Cumbria and many points in between. Use this book to generate a year-by-year history of your character's parents and grandparents, beginning as early as the year 439, with additional material to cover campaigns starting as late as the year 509. Witness a sweep of history from the perspective of your character's ancestors as they fight in legendary battles, see mighty kings rise and fall, and build their own modest legacy of which you are the latest scion. Will you bring honor to your family name, or shall the line wither and die with you? Right, so it's pretty cool and comprehensive. I'm just looking at it, flip through it. This is by Robert G. Schroeder, based on the King Arthur Pendragon role-playing game created by Greg Stafford. There's a cover design credit from Malcolm Walter, cultural icons Matthew Ryan, NPC portraits John Bridges, and medieval style illustrations by Brian Abschler. So pretty cool. It came out in 2018, so about 6 years ago now, and it got the introduction, like father, like son, explains what's new, and the legacy, the idea behind sort of the legacy game and the Great Pendragon campaign, how to use this book, and then look at the different time periods, and your family, your great-grandfather's glory, inheriting, knighting, and title glory gained prior to 439, marriage glory, bride's lands, the unlikely heiress, and then choosing your ancestral homeland, how to use the tables, and then decision years, etc. It's pretty cool. And then it has the different stories of the peoples in Chapter 2, Chapter 3, regional event tables, and then appendices. So new rules, campaign settings starting in other years, more complicated families, and then foreign player knights and exiles, and then a notable people, and then a chronology. So, and then a bibliography, which is kind of cool. I guess, how long is the bibliography for you scholars out there? Oh, it's a one-page bibliography. This could be a fun, well, maybe I might have to just get Arlen on from live from Pelham's Wasteland, or any other Arthurio files, I guess. It's got a nice little Appendix N for the bibliography. Obviously, Mallory's in here, but there's others as well. Also interesting. Oh, Tranquillus Suetonius, The Life of Caligula is in here. This could be pretty fun. All right, of course, online resources as well nowadays, but it's pretty cool. It's a pretty thick book. It weighs in at, well, I won't count the maps, but there are several pages of maps starting on page 278, and they're actually very nice maps of Cambria, Cumbria, the Western Roman Empire, Logris, and then the tribes of Britain in general in the reign of Constantine. So it can go from way back then to the 510 or 509, 510. So it's great. Yeah. So the Great Pendragon campaign, if you don't know, is divided into 3 phases: early, middle, and late. There's also the periods of the early phases are the Uther period. Then there is the Anarchy period. This is a 5.2 version. The Boy King version that I have actually starts with the Anarchy period, actually. Although I feel like there was a supplement to add Uther in there as well. And then then there's the Boy King period in those years. And these are the early periods, and then there's other stuff as well. So that's kind of cool. So then you would start like in the Uther period, and then have your knight ready to play. I guess your player knight would be born in 463, and your player knight has their 21st birthday at the end of the year at 484, and that is when they're knighted. So they would begin play in 45 that seems to me 5 years after, or 5 years into the Uther period. So that's pretty interesting. So by the time Arthur starts, your characters are going to be pretty old. It seems they're 21 and 45. They'd be like 46 when Arthur, pulls the sword from the stone. So I think I would probably start a little later. And they do have a way to do it, starting with the Boy King, if you want to start the campaign in 510, in the appendix, actually. So then your great-grandfather is born in 413, and your player knight is born in 488. The player knight has his 21st birthday at the end of the year in 509 and is knighted. So that seems more in line with what I would want to run, potentially. So like fresh knights when Arthur becomes king or really pulls the sword from the stone. But there's a lot of different variations, and I think it definitely is workable. So I think I will play with this, and the next segment will be doing a family history of the character. Hopefully they're not from Logris, but I'm going to roll it all randomly. Okay, so what are we going to roll up? And I guess this is going to be for Aeden, the knight that was solo, that I ran solo through the Pendragon starter set solo adventure. And it doesn't seem to make sense now, but eventually it does make sense because there is a connection between where I rolled, where he lived, the area, and Powys, where he ends up eventually. And that is because this all starts back in the time of Vortigern, who is the notorious, mythical, legendary king who brought over the Saxons, making a deal with them, having them fight as mercenaries against Pictish and Briganti incursions into the tribal's territory of the Trinovantes and the Tetuvelauni tribes, remnants of the Cymric tribes, Roman Britain era. And so when I rolled randomly, and I rolled that my family was from Logris, and they were Catuvelauni, and their homeland is Huntland on the Saxon shore, and they're British Christians, so chaste, energetic, generous, modest, temperate are the traits that they strive for, British Christians do. And then I was looking at and you calculate the great-grandfather's glory. You roll randomly for that, and it ended up being 2,700. And then the father gets 1/10 of that. So that would be my character's grandfather, whose year will start in 460, when he starts gaining glory and going through the roll of years. And his total glory then would become 1270. But then during this time period, there was a lot of upheaval as Vortigern was giving the Saxon tribes that were coming over and doing mercenary duty and fighting for him. He even married the daughter of one of the Saxon tribal leaders, Rowena, and had a son by her. So then there were some dissidents and eventually a rebellion. So I was like, well, where was this family? And I could find there's nothing on historical Catuvelauni during this time period. And sort of the chronicle ends, at least in a non-scholarly way, looking, at encyclopedia entries, etc., at around the 3rd century. So they got integrated into the Roman Britain lifestyle. There's people who probably still held to the tribe, but we really don't know. And I looked in some of the old drafts that I was privy to when I was helping with the Saxon Shore playtest, and it says the Catavaluni were rebels, but that didn't really quite make sense according to the stuff in the Book of Sires. So I kind of went back a little bit and saw, well, what happened with the great grandfather, and would that make the family loyal or not? So it turns out they were loyalists to Vortigern because they fought and answered the call to fight, or as the grandfather did, fight at the Battle of Lincoln and survived, where the family gained a large tapestry. Then he really didn't fight, and I'll probably have to get a name for the grandfather at some point. He really didn't fight a lot until the call to suppress the rebels came, and he fought at the Battle of Kent and survived, gaining glory. And that was in 457. He had also was invited to the wedding, and he gained some glory from that. And saw some other things that happened. But then in 459, he died. He was killed mysteriously by bandits. I'm going to say it was unsolved, and this caused his son, my character's grandfather, to question their loyalty. So they have the grandfather's starting glory is 1279, and the start year is 460. And just as an addendum, this all is because I'm doing the campaign starting with the Boy King, where that's kind of not super accurate, but I'll figure it out. I think maybe I might have to make another character. I'm not sure. Because technically, my character Aeden would have become a squire in 410. I guess that's fine. Since maybe he'll earn glory sort of in the shadow of Arthur as one of his squires. I think that's fine. I think you can start as a squire. We'll do that and see what happens as I play. So, all right, and this is because I'm starting with the Boy King. So the campaign starts in 510, and the grandfather marries and starts gaining yearly events, gaining their own glory in 460. That's on page 246 of the Book of Sires. All right, so let's see what happens. I guess I'm also going to say that since this grandfather's father was killed mysteriously by bandits, he's going to question his loyalty to the whole Vortigern regime and move to neutral. A very interesting turn of events for the grandfather. I did name them. I found this 1,000 Cymric names, so I rolled randomly what their name would be. And the great-grandfather, this one who was a loyalist, Edward de Chaucer, killed by a bandit, and maybe the son shouldn't have complained so loudly. So the son is named, the grandfather of my character is Bryce de Chaucer. They're from the Huntland, so I named him the Hunter of the Hunt. So in 460, wherein this character starts, I rolled in that +5 for speaking out and being a dissident. Had him be contacted by one of Vortimer's agents, gets 20 glory, becomes a rebel, and in 461 the next year joined Vortimer at the Battle of Stonar and died. That same year, young son Martin l'Orphelin, our character's father, was born. So he starts in 483 as a knight, somehow survives. Maybe is that when he's transferred, or maybe that's when he's transferred, or because of the events that happen. We'll see. And wow, just like that, that's the way the dice roll. We gotta go with it. So the orphan begets another orphan, and maybe now it makes sense. The character is supposed to be born to match the timeline in 7 years, or 5 years actually. In 5 years here, but he's going to be about 5 years older than it indicates. So Martin l'Orphelin died of some sort of mysterious illness in 483. I guess he had a son in that year, having just become married. And maybe that's why we find Aeden across Britain in Powys, I think that's how you pronounce it. And with the family of Sir Richter, so there is a connection, like I said, Capricorn, Vortimer's brother is over there in that area. So maybe he was sent off, this young baby orphan and the mother out to in there to get them away from the tragedy or whatever of the Saxon shore. So there you go. Aeden's history. He is, I guess, an orphan and inherited or brought into the family and trained up as a page, and then become a squire suddenly in 510. And maybe he's a little older than a normal squire, and it works out that he's maybe knighted very quickly after that in 510, seeing Arthur pull the sword from the stone. Well, that's interesting. Those are the random rolls, and I guess I rolled randomly to see how he died too. So he died. It says killed by bandits in a feud or a beast, and I rolled just randomly and it was bandits, and that just seems odd, as they were loyalists. So maybe, Vortigern's Saxon mercenaries, or the Saxon shore, not as peaceful a place as it could have been. That led to tragedies and the begetting of orphans. So there you go, Aeden. He's not 14, he's 19. And he's becomes a young knight then in 510 in the service of Arthur. Wow, well, I guess that makes more sense. In any case, we'll have to figure out what Aeden gets in that bit of years, or maybe he's just gonna be an older knight. We'll see. Haven't decided yet. Have to figure that out. In any case, thank you so much for listening. This has been the Geomologist Presents. Send me some feedback. You can do that by sending me. I guess you have to do it a voice message or an email message. You can send that to geomologist@gmail.com. You can leave me a message through the Discord, and I do have a SpeakPipe account linked to this podcast. My wife Amy does the cover art. Thank you so much for listening. Good night and good rolling.